This is my modified Hypershocker 26-inch, and it's one of Walmart's most cheapest full suspension mountain bikes. So this bike is around $130 retail, which is very good, and you'll find out why later in the video. It weighs around 32 pounds, has a steel frame, and 26-inch by 2.25 tires, and it's an 18-speed. Both of the knobby tires add very good grip onto the trails, and it can help a lot when you need that grip. But as you're gonna see, the trails weren't really my favorite that day.
Oh! I'm all right. I went over the bars. Oh, that was good actually.
Onto the pedals. So they give a good concave shape inwards, but they do sand off the grips after a while, which is very not good because if you go down the rough sections of the trail, it really is not helpful after 3 to 6 months. So that's why I opted to getting the 1-Up composite pedals, which is very good for the price range, and I believe that this will work great on my bike. A little overkill, I could have got some cheap $20 metal pedals, but I decided to, you know, treat this bike a bit. So for the brake levers, I'm going to be running the Wake brake levers. They are okay. They can be weird sometimes, but they're much better than the original brake levers that come stock with this bike. So for my stem, I'm going to have a Wake mountain bike stem, and I think it's really good. It's just that I would probably opt out to get a shorter stem for a shorter reach because right now the bike just has too long of a reach. For my shifters, I'm going to be running a Sram MRX Comp 3x6 variant, and I think it's really good. I'm also running Wake brake pads in the front and rear. They aren't that great, but they were only like $13, so for the first 2 months that they worked, they were amazing. To get onto the front suspension, it works fairly well. I can't complain too much about it. It's stock. It's a $100 Walmart bike anyway, so I mean, it's a good fork for the money, I would say. But you can also tell that there's travel in the fork, so it's not totally useless. So the rebound on this fork is a little bit weird. Sometimes, as you can see when I'm pressing down on the suspension, you can tell that the rebound kind of just stays there and it has trouble reaching back to its original state, which is definitely a problem and it messes you up on trails sometimes. I don't have any problems with the rear suspension at all. Nothing like the front fork. It doesn't have a lot of travel, but I mean, it has enough for you to notice, and it's comfortable on commuting, I would say. So the question you may be asking yourself is if you should buy it. Now, there's a big question. If you're just using this bike for maybe a season and then putting it back in your garage just to let it dust, I would probably get it. It's not that bad, it works well, it's cheap, and it'll get you from point A to point B. But if you're serious about riding trails day in and day out, then I would just probably save your money, buy maybe a Trek Marlin 5, or if you're trying to do really budget, then get some Huffy Nighthawk, but I would give you that advice. Although if you do end up in a position like me and you end up wanting to ride trails in the near future, that's no big problem because this bike can handle light to medium trails, but I would keep this bike mainly stock. I would not upgrade the drivetrain and I would not upgrade the suspension, mainly because it's not worth it. You know, you're getting newer parts for an older geometry and heavy weight. I would mainly save your bike around big upgrades for a newer bike so you can have more compatibility with newer parts. I would definitely upgrade the pedals, and I would think about upgrading the bars if you really want to, but I would keep this bike mainly stock.
Right, keep going, keep going, keep going. Ah! Ah! My God! What is this? What was that? It's almost as if the part with the ditch is supposed to be crossed.
1 second.